Hello and welcome to Body and Mind Uncensored. We're your hosts, Kelly
and Celise. Combining 26 years of nursing experience, we're dedicated to sharing our expertise in mental health and women's health with as many people as possible.
The topics discussed in this podcast are based on our educated opinions and real-life experience and should not replace advice from your healthcare team. Hello and welcome back. How are you doing, Talise?
Hi, Kelly. Doing great. Not much has changed since the last time we met. Still hot, but I am happy to see your face. Are you staying busy?
Always busy, right?
It is always busy. Have you been out in your pool?
I have been out in my pool, yes. Not as much as I want to. I would love to be out there all day instead of working, but...
Right, exactly. How often do you get out?
Probably a couple times a week, maybe.
That's good.
How about you? How often are you using your pool?
Probably every day. I'm trying to think. There's days where it doesn't happen until way late, but
That's good.
get in just to cool off.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes Jeremy will ride his motorcycle to work, and where it's extremely hot here, when he gets home from work at 8 o'clock and it's still so hot, he'll just jump in the pool and cool off.
I think that's the hardest thing for us is during the week. Sean works at the airport, and so it's so hot in Salt Lake. Yeah. Plus, on the blacktop on the tarmac, it's even hotter. And so the last thing he wants to do when he comes home is to be in the sun.
That's true. So, even if it's in the cool pool. Right?
Even if it's in the cool pool. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Kelly, what do you think we should talk about today? Maybe some social media?
Yeah, let's talk about social media and the impact it has on all of our lives. It's fairly new still to our world, even though it's been around for quite some time. But not growing up with social media, of course, things were so different back in our day.
Back in the day.
But yeah, social media has its pros and its cons, and definitely its time and its place. But yeah, let's chat.
Well, in preparation for this, I thought I would look it up and see maybe how many social media platforms there are in the world.
Oh, okay.
And I thought there were going to be just this amazing amount. But I'd like to see if you share the same thought as me before I looked up this information. How many do you think there are in the world?
Like major platforms?
And I'm not trying to embarrass you by your guess.
Yeah.
You edit this, so you can edit it out.
I mean, I can think of the big ones, right? But if we're counting small platforms, I don't know, maybe 10?
Oh, see, you're better than I am. There are 14.
Oh.
I don't even think I had a number because I thought that in all these different countries, they were going to have their own Snapchat, their own Twitter, right? It doesn't seem to be that. I'll just get started with telling you how they rank.
Yeah, they're
First
all kind of just universal, right? I mean, because we see
they
people
are
from all countries on Facebook and
exactly.
Instagram. And, okay.
Exactly. I guess I was thinking that they would create their own, not exactly Facebook, but something just as big. I don't know what I was thinking.
All right.
But so as of April 2024, Facebook is the number one in the world.
Wow. Go Mark.
And go Mark Zuckerberg. So, and this says in the millions. And then it has this chart, and Facebook has, forgive me for my numbers, 3,065, but that's in the millions. Which, how do you say that in the millions? Does it turn to billions? Because it's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
But they say it's in the millions, and like the key says that. So I don't know how to convert it, but we all know it's a lot. Right after that is, care to guess? Not quite. YouTube.
Oh.
Right?
See, and I don't think of YouTube as social media, but I guess it is.
Maybe not for you and I, but for our kids and all those out there who, definitely social media. And then Instagram. Yeah. So it goes 3,065 for Facebook. These are millions, however you want to convert it. 2,504 YouTube. 2,000 Instagram. The next one kind of blows my mind. It's just as popular as Instagram, and it's WhatsApp with 2,000. So
I don't think
a lot of people are using that.
I don't think I've ever heard of or used WhatsApp. Have you?
And yeah, I have. So last time we went to Mexico, we had they were our, I don't want you to think this was like this trip of a lifetime because it's going to sound like it when I say this. We had these butlers.
Ooh, fancy.
I know, right? I know. It's not as fancy as it sounds. But we had these butlers, and that's how they communicated, was through WhatsApp. And so that's where I used it. And I do see it pop up as a way to communicate through different places. Like, this is available. I don't use it as much, but obviously a lot of people do.
So what, I guess just my...
Chat.
Oh. So it's kind of like a group chat?
As far as I know. As far as I've ever used it for, that's what WhatsApp is
Interesting.
non-traceable, keep in mind.
So kind of like Snapchat.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without pictures.
Same kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Interesting.
you can send pictures, they don't delete. Like Snapchat does, or once you open it, it's still there. It's just like a running... And I'm not as up to date on Snapchat as I used to be. So WhatsApp is right there with Instagram, which is mind-blowing. TikTok is below that.
That's surprising. I
And-
would think TikTok would be higher because it's pretty
Me too.
popular. Do you use TikTok?
Me too. No.
I don't either.
Do you? No.
I don't.
I have before, and it was quite entertaining when I would watch dogs. That's all I would watch were the animal videos, because I think it's like I don't know the term. There is a term, but the more you watch of something, the more it shows you. What's that term? That social media term?
Yeah. It's
So-
the algorithm.
The algorithm. So the more I would watch the pet videos, that's what would come up. But I did find myself wasting a lot of time just watching funny animals. So I did get rid of it. That was
My whole
probably
family
5 years ago.
They're like addicted to TikTok.
To
And
Tik-
I don't know. I don't love it.
I think it's the instant, quick, short. You don't have to hold your attention span for very long. I think that's what this world is becoming, is
Okay.
instant, fast. So then after TikTok is one I've never heard, and it's called WeChat. Not we as in W-I-I.
WE. Like
W-E.
you and me.
We, yep,
Or us. Okay.
exactly. WeChat,
Interesting. I've
which
never
I don't
heard
know
that
why
one either.
any of these, you would need them over just like text messaging. I don't get it. So underneath WeChat is Facebook Messenger. I would have thought they would have gone together, but they don't. I guess they classify them separately and use separately.
And
so
that's
it's quite a ways
another
down.
chat platform.
True.
It's not like what you think of traditional social media. It's just a way to chat.
Is this
and talk.
sliding into your DMs?
Yeah.
Maybe this is sliding into your DMs. The Facebook Messenger and the Snapchat. Snapchat is down on the list a little bit. Crazy. Telegram, no idea, underneath Facebook Messenger and then Snapchat. So there's
Okay,
a
wait.
couple that we're forgetting
Yeah.
that haven't made the list yet.
Twitter or X, is that what it's called now?
Twitter, yep.
I'm
There's
surprised
only-
that's not up unless it's dropped since
it
the
has dropped
takeover.
significantly.
Okay.
It has. So we were comparing. Facebook has 3,065 million. Twitter only has 611.
Oh.
But there are a few weird names on there that I can't say, like Kyushu, which has more than Twitter. And at the very bottom of the list is Pinterest, which is what I use the most, probably. Those 498, I'm one of them. No, I get a lot of good information off
Oh, yeah.
Pinterest.
I found
That's my go-to.
that's where all of my recipes come from.
Yeah.
Or all my food ideas and things like that.
Party ideas.
I'm not on Pinterest as much as I used to be. It's really easy to get sucked into Pinterest.
Well,
There's a new one that Instagram put out. It's called Threads.
Okay. That's not on here, but it sounds intriguing.
It's kind of like X, but
Okay.
I don't know. I got on there when it first came out, but it's not really anything that I would probably use.
That you'd use any other platform for, right? Like
Yeah.
Facebook, I could do that on there. And I think that's what people are running into, is what you would want to do with social media you can do on
Yeah.
Facebook, or we just need something new.
Yeah. There's another one too that you left out, I think.
Well,
LinkedIn.
yeah, it's not on here.
Interesting.
So it must be a lot lower.
Which is
Yep.
surprising because that's more of like putting myself out there professionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when you think about the people who are using social media, it's usually the younger generations.
That's true.
Speaking of younger generations, while I was looking into some things, this is kind of sad. So we wanted to talk about social media, pros and cons, what's out there, maybe what you shouldn't put on social media. But it said teens who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media double their risk of depression and anxiety, which, working in the mental health field, I can see how they go hand in hand. Our numbers have risen remarkably, and so has social media use, right? Yeah. So that's alarming, and it's sad because I don't think use is going down. I think the social media use is going up.
Yeah, especially as more platforms are created and
and as they improve. Yeah. And as we use them for, like, even like I was just mentioning, on vacation, businesses are using them to communicate with clients and to build their business, which we'll get to. That's one of the pros of social media. Yeah. As you and I both know, we're promoting this podcast on several platforms of social media. But double the risk of depression and anxiety, which those lead to suicide, right? And we know we've seen an increase in teen suicide and young adult.
Definitely.
So we need to be careful with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because back when we were younger, right, there were bullies. And people would say stuff to your face, or they'd say it behind your back and it'd get back to you and things like that. And people are definitely mean. They've been mean all through history. But it's different now because people get to hide behind a keyboard when they say mean things or do mean things. And things can be taken out of context so easily. Just one little post and your whole world can go awry. And so it is definitely a different world, and definitely can be really scary for our young people.
Very scary. Speaking of cyberbullying, it says that 64% of teens reported that they... And another thing with cyberbullying is thinking about bullying back when we went to school. If it happened like on recess, just whoever was there saw it.
Yeah.
Right? But bullying, cyberbullying, people can watch that over and over and share it. And just the magnitude of who it reaches is astronomical.
Yeah.
Another thing, so I used to be a lot more into social media. I don't know about you, how your activity has fluctuated over the years, but I started noticing that when I am following social media, I'm a lot less happy. And I know it's because of these perfect images that we see and try to live up to, and there's no way we can.
Yeah.
So we're just forever chasing this perfection that we can't achieve.
Yeah.
So body image.
Yeah.
Right? And I've seen commercials on that lately. Have you?
Well, it's interesting too because people can Photoshop all day long.
Exactly.
These photos, and how much time did they take to put makeup on that made themselves look different? Or I've seen videos where people are using contour and like all these things and totally changing the shape of their face from something that is not, or the shape of their body, and just even going in and doing some shrinking of the waist or photoshopping or standing in a different angle changes your whole body. And so, yeah, people who go on and they do these things and they post, and it's like, oh my gosh, I want to look like her, or I want to look like him, or it can be very devastating to somebody who looks in the mirror
body image,
and they don't see that same person. But in reality, we all have cellulite. We all have fat. We all have these things about our bodies that we don't like, and to compare yourself to somebody else is...
Somebody else who's been photoshopped beyond recognition.
Yeah.
We'll never achieve it.
Yeah, I used to scroll a lot more than I do. I rarely get on any social media now. I mean, I do a little bit just to kind of check in on friends and see what's going on in the world, but it has become kind of something that, like you said, it definitely brings you down depending on what you see. Like, there's two topics that I do not talk about with people. That's religion and politics. And
that's on there
everywhere. And it is
especially now in an election year.
Especially now in an election year.
Yeah.
I am the type of person who keep those things to...
You can have your opinion. Don't push it on me.
Yes. We all need to come together. We all need to be
regardless of our opinions.
Right. We all live in the same country.
Mm-hmm.
We all want the same things out of life for the most part, right? I mean, we have deep-rooted beliefs and things like that.
But we
that
all
are not
want a
gonna
successful
change.
economy, right?
But
Like
yeah,
all those things that we argue over.
Yeah, we just want happiness and be united. I mean, we're the United States of America. Be united. And that's something that
Good point.
I am seeing a lot is that we're so divided. And I think social media the last several years has definitely shown that divide even more. And it makes me sick. I hate it.
Because it's such division, right? It's like you have to choose. You can't have...
And there's so much hatred out there. And it's just spewed everywhere. And I don't like it. I don't like hate. I don't like violence. I
Well,
want to
there's
sing
enough
Kumbaya
negativity.
and just wrap
I
my
know.
arms around everybody all the time.
We can add that to the end of every podcast. Sing
Kumbaya.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely depends on what you're looking for. I try and spend a lot of my time on there looking for things in the community to do. That's one thing that I use it for is what's going on out there. What's everybody's plans this weekend? Is there a farmer's market? Not just like a party at somebody's house. I don't mean that, but
Yeah.
like teens do.
Yeah.
So back to
what
the
events?
body.
What are community
Exactly.
events? Yeah.
What are the community events? And I do follow quite a few groups down here because everybody is like, where's the best place to get this done? And so I'm always curious what people are wanting to know because I use the same information.
Yeah.
But as far as using it as my self-worth guide, not so much.
Yeah. For
That's
sure.
where you got to steer clear of
Yeah.
your self-worth. So body image concerns reports show that 46% of teens, which is half, ages 13 to 17, which is our entire teenage population, 46% said that social media made them feel worse about their bodies.
Yeah.
Which I've started seeing that on TV, that commercial, right? Where she takes off the mask and
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sad commercial.
that is such a sad commercial.
Yeah.
Because we
The
can feel
phone-
that, right? We can all feel that within our own kids of,
Yeah.
you seem to be happy, but we need to look a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
What were
The
you going to say?
vulnerability of that population. I mean, I remember when my kids were all that age, and it is hard because not only are you comparing yourself to your peers in school, but then you see it all over social media and you see all these famous people and you're trying to live up to a standard, and it is hard.
No, it is. I can't imagine what our kids these days are going through, trying to see not only how everybody's Photoshop pictures look, but everybody, whatever they're doing is posted. So if you're not included, you get to see it. Every single thing. At least when you and I were young, people had parties and we may not have been invited and we didn't find out about it until the next day
Yeah.
or
When everybody
it
was talking about it. Yeah.
yeah. Not in your face watching it happen live or whatever goes on. Just so sad. So a big con of social media is online predators. That one, that's hard to talk about.
Yes.
Nearly 6 out of 10 teen girls say they've been contacted through social media platforms by a stranger in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable.
That's so scary.
6 out of 10.
That's so
That gave
scary.
me chills.
Yeah.
Says as a parent, it feels nearly impossible to be aware of and manage all of this. A good place to start is communicating with your children about these potential dangers, letting them know what to be aware of and caution them not to share any information with those who they don't know personally.
Well, and it's hard too because your children have phones now, right? We didn't grow up with phones. We had the phone on the wall with the cord and, you
That
know.
everybody got to listen to you talk
Yeah,
on
you
if they
pick
could
up-
follow the cord.
You pick up really quietly and you can listen. But
Yeah.
we have no idea what's going on in the world of cell phones. We have no way of monitoring and tracking. And there's all these apps now, like you just went through. And so, yeah, it's
So many
scary
different
how-
avenues for predators to reach our children and
there's
hide behind.
and there's even more that we haven't discussed, like gaming apps like Twitch and those kinds of things that I think people are
Never heard of it.
they're playing with people online and they're messaging through these apps, and that's another way to
Good point. to reach. Well, because so many of our youth game and young adults,
Yeah.
right? And you're right. On this platform of 14 social media, it doesn't mention the Xbox platform, the PlayStation platform, and the games, right? Because every single game has its own chatting and just so many
so
avenues.
you're playing with people that you have no idea where they're even located. They can tell you that they're in Zimbabwe, but they could be right around the corner. You don't know, and you don't know who they are. They're just random people that you're playing with most of the time. And so that's another scary thing too, is
Don't believe people.
Yeah.
Please don't. Even pictures, right?
And don't give out your information. Even if you've been playing with the same person on a game or talking to them or whatever it is for months, you really don't know who they are.
No.
They could say that they're 16 years old and they're really 60. Or
Have you ever watched Catfished
No.
on MTV?
no.
Well, if you ever want to know what to be watching for, this one will help you. But it is unbelievable how many people on the show, whether it be production or really truly how it is, go for months and sometimes years being strung along by these people who are catfishing them. Some of them, they've been talking for years, but yet the person will never meet them. They'll never do an online or like a video chat where they can see them. That is such a huge red flag.
Yeah.
If somebody is not willing to be completely upfront and like, this is who I am, I'm real,
Yeah.
that's a red flag.
Yeah. I have seen, so Dr. Phil, I don't know if he's still on, but I saw a couple of episodes where he had an older adult, like a older woman or anyway, an elderly person on the show who was apparently contacted by somebody famous, or they didn't even have to be famous in some cases. They were just some person and they fall in love with this person and they're in a foreign country and they're trying to help them out because they don't have funds or whatever, and they end up sending their life savings to these people and they think that this person's real and that they're in love with this person, but they never talk to them. They chat, but they never have like a FaceTime call or never actually meet them in person. And people can hide behind a keyboard. It doesn't mean that they're legit.
No,
It's
that's
so
not who
scary.
they say they are.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to get into the waters of scamming,
Yeah.
which is a completely different episode.
But people
still,
are
like,
using
that's
these platforms.
social media platforms for
Yeah.
scamming. 100%.
Yep.
So scary.
Post,
Scamming
"Here's
to
my
get you
picture."
your money.
Yeah. This
Here's this
you
picture
know,
I found online.
and recently I've had a lot of friends who have had their profiles taken over. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen this, but all of a sudden their name changes and I'm like, who is this person? I've never
Yeah.
followed this person before. And then their pictures change, or they're using the pictures of the person who they're pretending to be. And yeah, it's insane what's happening in the world.
And I do think things are getting better. As far as this catfishing show, like they will take pictures of people off like somebody else's identity, right? And use it as their own. So it's not their real pictures, but if they're taking this from somebody who is actively posting, they can post a lot of pictures. But something, and I'm not really, I don't know that I would know how to do it if I had to, but I have heard that you can take an image and you can search it on the internet. So if I were in one of those relationships, I would like to believe that if this person was being a little bit odd and wouldn't meet in person or wouldn't do a FaceTime or something where you can make sure they're who they say they are, I would be searching those images.
Yeah.
That's what I would be doing, because chances are they're taken off of some models or somebody's
Yeah.
identity.
They're coming from somewhere else. They're not.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
They're not them, or they would be wanting to be like, hey, look at me. Let's meet in person. I'm perfect. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you?
Definitely.
So another con of social media, and I hadn't heard this before, are tics. Tics. Movement disorders. It says there's a study about how children who use TikTok are developing tics and having tic-like attacks. They're experiencing a movement disorder brought on by stress and anxiety, presumably made worse by the pandemic, and teens' increased social media consumption.
Interesting.
Holy cow. Right? Tics.
And I've heard of people having neck issues from
Looking down.
looking down.
Yeah,
Ticks, though.
some kind of
Wow.
tick.
TikTok is giving ticks.
I I know. I thought that was maybe a play on word. Like, what?
Interesting.
So we'll get to the positive effects, but changes in their daily behavior. So on top of everything else that social media, if that's not scary enough, these are problematic digital behaviors. There may be changes in children's daily behavior at home. So increased irritability, increased anxiety, increased depression, sleep issues, lack of self-esteem, lack of focus and concentration.
Oh,
Just-
I totally, yeah.
It's that instant. As you scroll, you need that instant satisfaction.
Yeah. I mean, even in gaming too, I see this all the time, and you're so focused on the gaming and that social interaction that you're getting on the computer or through these apps or social media, you forget how to relate to people in real life.
Yes. Yes.
And so I can see all of that. Yeah.
What causes those? Yeah.
Yep.
And lack of focus and concentration. Let me be vulnerable here and say how much time I spend on my phone a day. I bet cumulative, it's probably a good couple of hours. And I've gotten to the point where if I'm sitting down watching a movie, I can't just sit there and watch it. I get bored, and I am mad at myself for that. I don't need to have double stimulation going on.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm watching a movie. I need to eat. I need to be on my phone. I need to be on, like, even sometimes work, right? I've got my laptop. I'm just going to sit there and do a couple things while I watch TV. Just relax, Talise.
Just enjoy the movie and the popcorn.
Just relax. Well, and the popcorn, I was going to say that. If it's not my phone, it's got to be a treat.
Yeah.
I'm watching a movie. What can I eat?
See, and I find myself, because I don't really scroll through social media anymore, I just find myself playing mind-numbing games just to mind-numb.
What are you playing, please? I cannot
know.
stick
They're
with a
silly.
game on my phone.
They're silly.
I feel like my ADD is just getting worse as I get older.
Yeah, like the Candy Crush kind of, like those little stupid, just silly.
Just mind numbing. Yeah, just numbing out. I've had a hard day. I just don't want to think about anything.
Yep. Yeah.
Which we should, me included, we should just be going out for a walk, right? But
Yeah.
that doesn't numb our minds. We're all addicted.
It's too hot outside to go for
It
a
is.
walk.
Let's be honest. It is
On
too
the
hot.
face.
I can look at my phone in the cold, in the air conditioning. Let's talk about the positives.
Yeah.
What have you used social media for in a positive light?
Just reconnecting, I think, with people. Like we've talked about in our past episodes with friends and losing contact after high school. We didn't have social media right out of high school, right? Or even in high school. And so I think it was fun when MySpace came about. That was
never
a fun
had a
way.
MySpace. Did you have one?
I did. It was a fun way to kind of show your personality and reconnect with people who you might have lost touch with. MySpace is gone now, so Facebook kind of took that over. But again, just kind of reconnecting with people who you might have lost connection with, or even just trying to stay up with people because life gets busy.
Well, and distance, right? One major thing that I can be grateful for social media is it has allowed me to move this far away from where I work. So we use Teams, which I think is a social media platform in a way, right? We're talking on it like you would on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that because it allows me to do this podcast when we live hundreds of miles away. So I am grateful for social media in that respect. And also with my kids, keeping in touch with them. They're further away now that I live down here. So absolutely. I don't think as a human group, I don't think we've ever been more connected.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many avenues to stay connected. Something that we didn't talk about was Marco Polo. I know that one's a really small one, but it allows you to send a video message to friends, and it kind of makes it more personable than a text. So you can see their mannerisms, their obnoxious dogs in the background. You can see those. So yeah, I enjoy Marco Polo.
I've never used or heard of Marco Polo. Apparently, I'm out of touch with the social media.
With the social media. Yeah, I'm not surprised you haven't tried it, but I am surprised you've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it. It's kind of fun to live vicariously through people too. I mean, we talked
Yes.
about everybody shares all the positive things, and it's like you get jealous of all the things that are going on. But I have a cousin who travels all over the place, and she posts all these fun pictures and things like that. And those kinds of things are fun to me. It's like, oh, I wish I was there. And maybe it'll add to my bucket list or my,
Exactly. Yeah.
But
It does help us to see things that we wouldn't have seen without
Well,
social media.
and just the database of pictures. Back when we were growing up, we had our little cameras with film in them. You'd take pictures of whatever you were taking pictures of, and you'd have to take them and get them developed. And it was like, surprise, this is what you took a picture of. Oh, and that's not what I meant
And your
to
eyes were
take.
closed. These pictures of our family who got together once every 10 years, and your eyes are closed.
Yeah. So the invention of the cell phone, but you also get to post them on social media, and then they're there, which can be good or bad forever.
And filter them. Let's remember
But
the filter.
but it's kind of fun to look back and see, oh, look at my memories from 8 years ago and what I was doing, or, those kinds of things are really fun to see, kind of that look over time. And I think that social media, particularly Facebook and Instagram, have given that to us too. And I don't know, that's kind of a fun thing.
Well, you mentioned LinkedIn. That didn't make the cut for the 14 social media platforms, but I know that is a huge one that we use as professionals to network.
Yep.
And that to me was one of the positives of social media. You're able to stay in touch with people, which means that, like you, I've seen you when we have an opening, you'll post that we're hiring. So I think a lot of people are finding jobs that way. We haven't even talked about the dating apps. I met my husband on a dating app, which I consider a social media platform, kind of. And I'm forever grateful for that. Our lives, our paths probably wouldn't have ever crossed. Maybe in Bear Lake, since I grew up there and his family has a condo, but they hadn't for 46 or 42 years. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, and I
Yeah.
have to credit social media to meeting my husband too.
Yeah.
So MySpace.
where did you meet him? MySpace.
Well, no, I didn't meet him on MySpace. So it kind of goes back. So
Plenty of fish.
No. So back in high school, I was on dance company, and you move away, you disconnect. But with MySpace coming back, I reconnected with some of my friends from dance company in high school. And then Facebook, of course. I had reconnected with a friend that I was in dance company in high school with. And she's like, hey, come up. I was just barely going through a divorce, and she's like, hey, come up and we'll have a New Year's Eve party. So yeah, thanks to Facebook and my friend inviting me to this.
Wait,
New
your
Year's Eve
husband isn't her
party.
ex-husband, is it?
Yep.
I don't know that I've ever heard this story. Please
Yes.
tell more.
Yeah.
Please.
So I am
Wait,
like,
did we make this an episode of how people meet their significant others? And we have, because I've got some weird ones that I know of people meeting. Go ahead.
yeah. So thanks to social media, I have met and married my now husband. So yeah, kind of.
Yeah, social media has, I'm sure, created many marriages and job
And many
opportunities.
divorces.
I was going to say that. Yes. Hopefully not as many as marriages, but you're right. It's with everything we do in life. And maybe this is our last, like what we say at the end of it is moderation, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing for food. We need moderation in good things and bad things. And social media is definitely one of those.
Yeah.
So
On how you use it. It can be good and it can be bad.
Exactly.
So just
watch yourself.
watch.
Monitor yourself.
Yeah, how you're using
And your
it. Make
kids.
sure that you're using it the way that you want to or should be. And
Well, you kind of have to be honest with yourself, right? If you recognize that when you get off of social media that you feel worse about yourself, or you're like, oh my gosh, I need a new wardrobe, or then be honest with yourself. You're using it too much.
Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed in my own, when I feel yucky about
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So something that I'd never heard of when I was looking up this topic, and it's called sharenting. And it's a problem that parents are sharing more than their kids want them to share about them on social media. So if you think about your friends and how many pictures they've shared of their children and maybe embarrassing things that they've done that then their friends will see and make fun of them for. So there's a real issue today with parents sharing more than their kids want them to.
Interesting.
How interesting is that? Yeah.
And I think it's not intentional for a parent like to go and share too much, but
And that's what it said. Their intent was
I do
good.
see a lot of my friends sharing pictures of their young children. They can be very inappropriate images that people are sharing and not even thinking about it. But yeah, eventually when that child is no longer 2 or 3 years old and they're 16 and they're going back and
They have their
seeing
own. Yeah.
these memories or whatever. But yeah, and just the silly things. Like, I mean, I'm sure I was guilty of it too. Oh, my daughter did something funny today, blah, 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 whatever it was. Yeah.
So just something to be aware of as parents. Watch what you're sharing of your kids and also watch what your kids are posting. So it said a few tips on how to navigate the social media world with your children. Just a couple of good ideas. Determine if your child is ready. Even if they're old enough to join a social media platform, they may not be ready for it. Most adults aren't, in my opinion, the way it affects us. And we are not always aware of how it is affecting us until it's too late.
Yeah.
So even though they're maybe 16 or however you deem is the age your child can have social media, make sure they're mature enough for it.
But the other part of that too is talk to them. Be honest.
That's the next next bullet.
Oh, good. Okay. I'll let you go then.
No, you're right. Talk to kids. Go ahead.
No. Tell me what you learned.
All right. So I did want to say one more thing about the determine if your child is ready. It suggests doing a test period. Parents should identify their expectations and communicate those to their children, meaning I expect that you're not going to be on this after hours and just setting down the ground rules. And that goes to talk to your kids. From the beginning, it's important to have an open and honest conversation about what social media is and what it can be used for. Even talk to them about what their interests are. You know, like, what do you want to get out of social media? Something that I didn't quite get to up here when we were talking about cons of social media are viral trends. We've seen an influx of that and people dying, right?
Yeah.
There are so many viral trends that maybe somebody really athletic was able to pull off.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the world tries and die from it.
Yeah.
Be careful of those viral trends.
Tide Pods.
Yep. Well, the moving car one, I don't know the names of them, but they're
there's a
Tide
lot out
Pod.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be careful of those. Limit screen time. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends limiting screen time to 2 hours a day for children. That seems generous,
Seems like a
in
lot.
my opinion. It does.
Seems like a
Especially when they're in school. And maybe, I mean, we haven't even scratched the surface of that, but screen time, kids use screen time in school all day long.
lot. Yeah.
So to come home and I'll get off my soapbox. Monitor their usage, checking on what your child is consuming, scrolling through their tablet or phone, using a social media monitor tool, see what apps there are. I know that you can set it so that you have to approve any app that your child downloads or just anything you can do to protect them. And then the last one it says is model good behavior. Right. If our teens or children are seeing us just glued to our phones all the time, what else are they going to think is okay then just to do that? So that's what I've got.
Very interesting.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I did.
I think I need to make a resolution to be better about my screen time.
Yeah.
Even though, like I said, it's not.
Yeah, no,
really
you didn't
social
say you
media,
had much.
but just personal interaction.
Yeah. And I was mainly looking at what social media does, but if we were to look into what screen time, I'm sure we would be alarmed as well with the amount of screen time that we all do.
Yeah, definitely. Well, are those your final words of wisdom?
Those are my final words of wisdom.
All right. Well, as always, thank you so much, Talise, for another great episode. We hope this was helpful to whoever is listening out there. Please go
follow us on all that social media, on all the platforms.
Yes. on all the platforms. We do appreciate your support as always and look forward to future episodes. So thank you and have a great rest of your day. If you or someone you know has thoughts of hurting themselves or others, please text or call 988. They will direct you to someone in your community that can help. You can also call 911 in an emergency.
Remember, you never know what someone else is going through. Sending peace and love to all. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook.